I wish that pace had been applied to our naval submarines. I wish that pace had applied to our light combat aircraft and the Rafale, or whatever you are trying to get to replace the MiG-21s.
So
I wish that had applied to our
this issue, therefore, now we are opening it up. Anyone can come into the debate. The issue, therefore, is not about Mr. Antony, though I suspect, Sanjay Jha, that it's very convenient to have a defense minister who wears the mask of being Mr. Clean, because Mr. Clean does nothing about who got the bribes in the Augusta-Westland deal. The bribery was suspected as far as 2009, and of course I'll raise it today. And Mr. Antony will go down in history as a very competent Congress politician who became a defense minister who did nothing. It was only when the Italians ended up arresting Finmeccanica CEO Giuseppe Orsi that Antony, in an embarrassed manner, ordered a Central Bureau of Investigation. Now, you will tell me, why are you going into those issues? Because two things are going in a parallel manner. We have no movement. The CAG report said, Sanjay, that the 9-year delay in finalizing the Scorpion submarine deal will impact the Navy's underwater capabilities. You've not read any of these reports, neither do you have faith in the CAG. But this is what is happening, Sanjay. And that's why people are asking Mr. Antony now that it's pay time. It's pay time. You need to explain yourself. Yes, Sanjay, you have something to say before I go to Admiral Jacob.
Yeah.
It's a good time to own up.
No, absolutely. Just
it's a good time to own up, Sanjay.
I won't take too much of your time. I just want to tell you two things very quickly, Arnab. Number one, that, where the defense minister is concerned, let us not doubt, number one, his integrity or his credentials and his efficiency as well. You mentioned Augusta-Westland. I want to answer you on that one. He's cancelled the deal. And let me tell you, if you look at the investigation, which also involved
other countries,
blacklisted Augusta-Westland? Their own laws that
did he blacklist Augusta-Westland?
I think it was done.
Did he blacklist Augusta-Westland?
It was.
Did he blacklist Augusta-Westland?
Well, let me tell you. Can I just give me?
Did the defense ministry
in the most prompt fashion?
Initially try to cover up on the deal?
I have interacted with some very senior people from the defense services.
Don't speak in ambiguous, subjective and unnamed terms.
I want to make another point here. Just 1 minute, Arnab. Today,
Sanjay,
India is one of the largest importers of arms equipment.
Mr. Bakshi, are you satisfied?
Arnab.
Are you satisfied
today,
in any way with the response?
If you look at the defense allocation that we have for the budget, is humongous.
No, I mean,
and third, we have a transparent process of defense procurement. Now, if there are systemic weaknesses, 1 minute, if there are problems in execution, if there have been some, listen, 1 minute, there's a defense minister, there's a bureaucracy, there are people in the naval headquarters,
it's so sad,
there are other people as experts who come in. Now, if there are weaknesses,
it's so sad that you're trying to cover this up.
Now,
Mr. Sanjay
not by pointing blame.
Mr. Sanjay Jha,
please stop blaming the defense minister.
Of course, we'll blame the defense minister because the defense minister blames everybody else. You are not aware of what the defense minister says. Your defense minister in November 2013, your defense minister in November 2013
you got an honest man who
goes
is
and meets
about his job.
I am not interested in whether he's honest or not, but I'll certainly question that this very honest man, when several politicians were accused of accepting huge bribes from some strange people from an Italian company for Augusta-Westland for the supply of 12 AW-101 helicopters, when the bribe was suspected way back in 2009, your Mr. Clean did nothing. Your Mr. Clean also, 1 month after Times Now put out the report on Augusta-Westland, said that apparently there was no wrong done. Now, there were talks of important politicians from with very important political links.
The CBI inquiry is still going on.
Don't tell me about ongoing inquiries. You're going to sound like a broken record on that one, Sanjay.
Against all those who are named is still going on. The guilty will be punished whenever the guilty are caught. I don't think he's interfered in the CBI investigation process. That's got nothing to do with the contract at all. In fact, Mr. Antony has taken a very swift and a very correct decision. I think you should appreciate that, Arnab. You can't be critical just for the sake of it.
I get Mr. Admiral Jaccob into it. I remember that A.K. Antony went to a Navy commanders meeting. And you know what he told the Navy commanders? He said, stop wasting national resources. He said that. Didn't he, Admiral Jaccob? He said this just 3 months back. Yeah, he admonished the Navy commanders. He said, stop wasting national resources. Do you have the courage to ask your Prime Minister? that whose resources were you wasting when your cost escalations, because of every single deal that you don't take a decision on, thousands of crores, your cost escalation goes up? Who's wasting national resources? How much money is wasted by paying the arms dealers more money? Which foreign company makes more money? You don't have the courage to ask those questions. Admiral Jaccob, did he make that remark or not?
Yeah, of course. The point at issue here is that we have been debating this issue of acquisition programs ad nauseum. We've made so many plans. We made a 30-year submarine building plan. We made a force-level plan to 2025. At that point of time, when the BJP was in power, we got approvals from the cabinet. All this is on record. Subsequent chiefs and various people who came have made sure that these plans were put up at all times. Nothing has moved.
Nothing has moved.
There is not a single acquisition. Nothing has moved. Today, do you know that most of the major capital ships of the Indian Navy are going to sea without a helicopter, which is a multi-role helicopter, which is supposed to be equipped? They're supposed to be equipped with 2 of them. We don't even have one to put on, which is operational. You may go in for an Augusta helicopter for VIPs,
yes,
but you don't have the time to procure helicopters for a fight for the fighting unit.
That's so true. That's so true.
Where you want to do anti-submarine warfare.
Yeah.
This is the point. You had a Scorpion submarine. Whose fault is it that it's been delayed?
Yes.
It was conceived of many years ago. I remember when I was Vice Chief, it was conceived. It has taken us so long for the Scorpion to come. We are now so short of submarines. That was a fine arm. It's a service which is professional to the core.
Yeah.
And I'm really distressed to see the way that they have been forced to manage with what they have. They don't have a submarine rescue vessel. I remember, I mean, it was mooted many years ago. I reiterated also when I was Vice Chief. At that time, it was taken that we would get it in a couple of years.
Yep.
I retired in 2001. This is 2014. We still do not have a submarine rescue vessel.
No, they don't have it. But when the Commonwealth Games were,
who's at fault?
No, but when the Commonwealth Games were happening, in which what's that man Suresh Kalmadi from the Congress Party was trying to make allegedly a colossal amount of money. At that point of time, they even were authorizing fixed and approved commissions for the sale of VVIP choppers for sale to the Home Ministry. And I think the question is very relevant, isn't it? Isn't this question extremely relevant that you don't have the choppers required for Navy personnel, but you want to buy VVIP choppers?
It is not for Navy, it is to fight. It is to have the capability to fight a war at sea.
Agreed.
That is what we are looking at. We don't have. The Sea Kings are old. They are not really airworthy.
Yep.
We are keeping them going. Because one thing about the armed forces and the Navy and all the 3 armed forces, we try and make do with what we have. But now things have been stretched to such an extent, there is an absolute apathy in the way the Ministry of Defence functions.
Yeah.
They are not accountable, though as everybody knows the rules of government business state that the Defence Secretary is responsible for the prosecution of war.
That's why
by the Defence Minister through the Defence Secretary.
And that's why
that is why you have this problem. So Arun Prakash's point is absolutely correct. We need to have a direct, single point advice on military matters to the political leadership, and there has to be a direct dialogue.
Yes,
I remember when I was Vice Chief, I could walk into Mr. George Fernandez's office any time and put a file down, and I was only Vice Chief. And I could get something through. He would listen to me. Now, for God's sake, I don't know where we are going. Well, I hope this resignation by the Naval Chief will result in some cleanup of the way the Ministry of Defence functions.
I'm not sure because I get a sense, and therefore this is not politician bashing, Admiral Arun Prakash. But I get a sense. I spoke to some people in government today.
Today in the Ministry of Defence, the politician has no time for defence. He's so engrossed in electoral politics. The man who runs the ministry is the bureaucrat. He has no comprehension because he's come from agriculture and he's going to go to coal or petroleum or something. So in this kind of an environment, they do not even seek expert advice from the Armed Forces headquarters, which are just 10 paces away. So the whole system is dysfunctional. Politicians' sole interest in acquisition is how much will go into the party coffers.
Exactly.
That is the full extent of his interest. Otherwise, he's preoccupied with elections, with parliament, with various other things. The bureaucrat is a transient person. He has no comprehension and he's not interested.
You want
Moses sitting in the service headquarters. He's asked.
You want spot on there, Arun Prakash. I must commend you.
Talk about things.
You've really nailed it tonight, haven't you?
What is the problem with the Ministry of Defence?
No, you've completely nailed it. The politician is too busy with his electoral politics. The bureaucrat does not care. He's wondering about his next ministry promotion. And the politician is only interested, Air Vice Marshal Dayalu, if there are big cuts to be made in big deals, he's only interested in how much money was going to go for his party. And I think Air Vice Marshal Dayalu, there will be quite a few politicians out there who will be extremely happy that the delay in this, for example, the Scorpion deal will cost the country about 3,000 crore rupees more. How do they care if the ministry's inefficiency added to it, more money spent, maybe more lucrative for these politicians, as Arun Prakash has told you? Would you disagree with Arun Prakash?
There is an escalation clause in everything.
Of course there is.
Every deal has an escalation clause.
Yeah, but we pay for it, sir.
That is something which a lot of people forget.
Yeah, but we pay for it.
I think, yeah.
In 2004, the cost of the submarine...
Arnab, perhaps we are a part of the system.
1 crore per day. And yet there was no sign of anybody wanting to sign the deal.
Right.
Till Mr. Mukherjee took a hard decision and went ahead and signed it. 1 crore a day, the submarine price was going up.
And they did not care. Because for them it's only about the commission. Yes, Air Vice Marshal.
Yeah, why I want to say one more thing.
Air Vice Marshal, just one quick word to you. Yes, D Bakshi, I'll come to you after that.
Yeah.
Arnab, this entire thing about the pricing of the submarines and the lineup for the acquisition, etc. I'm really not clued up on these things. The basic issue, what I was getting into for this thing when your office asked me was, should the political bosses also pay a price for
this? Yes, they should.
After the Chief of the Naval Staff has demitted office.
Why shouldn't he?
Well,
if the politician has been,
no,
why shouldn't he? Because the sum total. No,
you see,
because the sum total of everything we are discussing boils down to one thing.
The naval chief having demitted office. The naval chief has demitted office, and that itself is a step back for the politicians also.
No, certainly not. Certainly not. I think a lot of the politicians are extremely gleeful over the fact that the naval chief has resigned, because you have a one-stop shop to blame everyone. G.D. Bakshi, you agree with me?
Arnab,
that's the sense I got.
Here. No, Arnab, we are missing the point here. There is an institutional issue. General Admiral Joshi has taken moral responsibility for a fast depleting force level. He has taken responsibility for what has happened.
Why has the force? But why is there attrition in the force? Why is there attrition in the force?
Because there has been cumulative neglect. At the political level, nobody is assuming responsibility for the delayed decision. But I'm saying that there is double jeopardy here. When you have an aging fleet, which is over 25 to 28 years old, then you need at least a revenue budget to make sure that there is proper maintenance, proper refit. We are allowing even the revenue budget to stagnate. So at the political level,
this is not about the revenue budget.
Responsibility for the overall functioning of the system.
Sir, please understand, there are some harsh realities that you will have to look at. You will look at it, Hardeep Puri, because now you're with the BJP. I am told that VK Singh is going to join the BJP in a couple of days. You should actually look back at the leaked letter of General VK Singh, which told us, where he said the air defense is 97% obsolete, the tank fleet is devoid of critical ammunition, the infantry is crippled with deficiencies of crew-served weapons, lacks night fighting capabilities. Everyone tried to cover it up, and when the media reported that at that point of time, people said the media is being anti-national by putting such facts out. Well, who's being anti-national today, G.D. Bakshi? Last word to you. Who's anti-national there?
Arnab, you must give the parenthesis to what happened after the leak of General VK Singh. That year, the sanctioned defense budget of this country was cut by 10,000 crore rupees. That was the answer of the Ministry of Defense and our political establishment to the very grave, infirmities pointed out by the Chief of an Army Staff, a serving chief who said he doesn't have ammunition to fight a war beyond 4 days. And what is your reply? That year you cut that sanctioned defense budget by 10,000 crore rupees. In no other country could this have passed muster, except in India.
Well, a lot of things happen only in India. That's why tonight I'm asking the question, despite knowing fully well that in a country where the Prime Minister has not taken responsibility for a single scam, to expect him to nail the Defence Minister is too much. Not even if there are 20 days of effective government left, but at least I hope the Cabinet Committee on Security thinks, if nothing else tomorrow, on the issues that have been raised. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me on that debate.